Macam mana ahli dah jawab? Kalau tadi kita ingat KL ni, orang tangan pihak yang kaitan pun kalau ni tu apa ya? Aduh, jadi rapat mana ni?
Lagi dari mana? UP ya? UP ya?
Mau tapi kalau tapi tidak, bukan yang awak kalau Halim apa ajak di lunch pun dulu support dari saya. Cuma kalau
Hello, good morning everybody. Good morning, selamat pagi. How are you? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yes, Doc. Yes.
Boleh dengar? Okay. So can hear, so we can start. For Muslim, we start with Al-Fatihah. Okay. So let me see. So we have only 22 participants. There are some more, 6 more. Yeah. Okay, everybody. So today we have, we will continue. But before that, I would like to know your progress on assignment number 1. Okay. So group 1, what is your progress so far?
So far, okay, Doctor.
Okay, what do you mean by okay?
Actually, it's a very big assignment.
So what have you done so far?
So far, quality manual done, and then quality procedure documented information now on the process, and then we on work in section 2. So we do slowly until we finish early.
Do you have any problem?
So far, no, Doctor. We're clear.
How about your teamwork? Everybody contribute in your group?
What, Doctor?
The teamwork in your group?
All okay, Doctor.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Group 2? Group 2? Hello, group 2?
Yes, Doctor.
Yeah, group 2, Shafiq.
Yes.
Okay.
So far, okay, Doctor.
What do you mean by okay?
So far, ultimate give a contribution to the assignment.
What is the progress so far?
50%.
50%.
Yes.
All right. Any problem?
So far, no, Doctor.
Okay. All right. Group 3? Group 3? Route 3 smart trolley.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your progress?
So far, okay lah, sir.
Okay lah. What do you mean by okay lah?
40%, sir.
Huh?
40%.
40%.
Yes.
40%. What is your planning?
We already bagi-bagi tugas. Lepas tu,
Sudah bagi tugas?
sudah.
Sudah. Okay. Right. Any problem?
Maximum page berapa, sir?
There is no maximum,
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
but you have to fulfill all the requirements.
Okay.
Read the question carefully, understand it. Yeah. If you have any problem, please highlight.
Okay,
Okay.
sir.
Right. Then last, chair, group, cupboard. Group 4.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is
Still
your
the progress in writing the QMS.
quality manual? You mean?
Yes.
What is your percentage? How many percent already done?
So far I didn't see. I only. So far I don't know, sir.
Yeah. You don't know. Any problem so far?
No.
No problem. Your teamwork, all members contribute or what?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. All right. So hopefully you can proceed. Proceed. Continue. Make sure that you did it properly. Yeah. Because if we carry a lot of your percentage, we will affect your final grade actually. 25% of your mark. Okay. All right. So that is your assignment. Today we will continue the requirement of the ISO, right? So we have discussed until now. I think we have completed clause 7. Yeah, we already discussed clause 4, clause 5, clause 6, and clause 7. Okay. Before we continue, I want to recap a bit. Can anybody explain to me what is the gist or the main point or the main requirement for clause 4? Can anybody? For clause 4? For clause number 4, what is the main or the gist of clause 4? Can anybody explain to me before we continue? Hello, clause 4. Hello? What the standard required us to do in clause 4? Hello, can you hear or not? Hello guys. Hello guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What the standard the requirement, the main requirement for clause 4? Can everybody give the summary for clause 4?
Understanding the organization and its content, Doctor.
What we need to do then?
We do SWOT analysis.
What else?
And then understanding the needs and expectation of interested parties.
Then what you need to do? What you need to do?
We should address who is our stakeholders and important for quality management system that are involved.
Okay, build SWOT. Okay. All right. So clause 4, basically, the standard require us to understand who we are. Yeah. Understand ourselves, who is our customer, who is our stakeholders. Yeah. What we are doing. Yeah. What are the issues. Yeah. So all this we can do in SWOT analysis. So by doing SWOT analysis, we can identify, we know where we are, what is our strength, what is our opportunities, what is our weakness, what is our threat. So that can be done. Yeah. In before we continue, before we proceed with our system. So that we need to say that we have to know ourselves first. Yeah. So that is in clause number 4, right? Then you have to establish the system, yeah, and you have to establish the manual, the whatever procedure that is required, and so on. Yeah. Then clause 5. What is the gist of clause 5?
It's about leadership.
Well, so what about leadership? What you need to do?
Okay, for this one is top management shall demonstrate the leadership and at the same time the commitment. Okay, the top management we means by a person and a group of people.
Okay. So what you need to do then?
Promoting and ensuring. Yeah, that's all.
You need to give a focus to customer. You need to establish your policy. You need to make sure that the policy is communicated. You need to create, or you need to give the responsibility, authority, the roles to your employee as a top management in your organization. Okay, so that will show your leadership character. Yeah. So all these things we must make sure that our top management have a leadership character, leadership and commitment. Yeah, to pursue with the system. Right. So class 6 in general.
Planning.
Yeah. So what you need to do in planning? What you need to do in planning? What you need to do in planning?
Think about the
You need
risk.
to you need to identify risk and opportunity. Yeah, during the planning. Yeah. So you can do FMEA analysis. Yeah. For your system and so on. Then you have to make sure that you establish the objective. Yeah, during the planning, you must make sure that every department got their own objective. Yeah, and you must make sure it's also the method, the how you want to make sure the objective will be achieved. Yeah, so all this you need to plan early at the early stage. Okay. After planning, then support, clause 7. So clause 7, what you need to do? Yeah, clause 7. Clause 7. Group 4 the other day. Clause 7. Yeah. In general, what you have to do in clause 7? For clause 7. Yeah. In general, what you need to do for clause 7?
Establish
Establish what?
The organization.
Organization what? Establish what? Actually, clause 7, you need to give all the necessary support, all the necessary thing that is required, yeah, to make sure that your system is can be implemented. Yeah, so we need to provide all those resources, all those resources that is needed. So we need to give people, we need to give infrastructure, we need to give environment that is needed. We need to provide monitoring devices, monitoring resources. Yeah, we also need to provide knowledge, yeah, that is necessary, yeah. And then we also need to make sure that our people are competent, our people are aware. We also need to make sure that the communication system are established, internal and external. We also need to make sure we have appropriate or adequate documented information to be referred to in order to implement the system. So that is basically all the resources that is needed, yeah, to make sure that the system can be implemented, can be developed, implemented, and maintained, right, in the organization. Those are the things that is that we have covered, yeah, from clause 4 to clause 7. Now today we start with clause 8, operation. Okay, so 8.1, operation, planning, and control. So group 1, who want to present? Who want to explain? Okay, please continue.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
8.1 Operation Management, Operational Planning and Control is the organization should plan, implement, and control the processes needed to meet the requirement for the provision of product and service and implement the action determined in clause 8.
Okay, so you are Lima.
Yeah,
Okay.
that means clause 8.1 is required that operation be conducted through processes that are planned and controlled regardless of whether the organization or outside party perform the process. And then the requirement for product and service are required to be determined and criteria established of acceptance. And then the identification of resources needed to achieve conformity is required.
Okay. All right.
And
No. Before next slide. Okay. Before next slide. Here you see 8.1 operation, planning, and control. So in clause 6, you also you see also planning. What is the difference between clause 6 and clause 8 planning here? Planning clause 6, planning about what? Planning clause 8.1 is about what? Clause 6 also planning, right?
yes.
So you see, clause 6 planning. 6 planning. Action to address risk and opportunity. That is 6. Now we have planning. Operation, planning, and control. So what is the difference between these two?
In 8.1, that planning like create a process flow for the company and plan the distribution the tasks like that.
Okay. Planning in clause 6 basically is planning on the overall system, okay? But planning in clause 8 basically planning for operation. Planning for operation is this clause is very related to your cost lah. Your cost is operation management, right? You later on you will be graduate as Bachelor of Operation Management. Betul? Correct. BOM. So this clause basically is directly related to your major lah. to your major. Later on, when you go to the organization, because you have a degree in operation management, most of the company will ask you to take care of this clause lah, basically. So you have to understand, planning in clause 6 is planning on the overall system, but planning in clause 8 is planning for operational. We must make sure that operation is will be a smooth operation according to what we have planned. So it says here, the organization shall plan, implement, and control processes. Processes apa? Control the process that we have already identified in clause 4. In clause 4, kalau if you see 4.4, we need to identify. I ask you to draw a business process, right? A business process flow. So when you draw a business process flow, you will see in your organization what are the process that are needed, process or processes that are needed. So in clause 8, it says that we shall plan, implement, and control all those processes that we have identified in clause 4.4. So when you draw the business process flow in 4.4, so you will identify what process that are involved. Then in clause 8, you must make sure that you plan, implement, and control those processes. Okay. Then you have to determine all those requirements, establish for criteria, process, and so on. So that is the process of making sure that your process are controlled. Then continue. Next slide. Okay.
There is final change are required to be controlled, and action is taken to mitigate the effect of unintended consequence of change. And then the rest is documented information is required to be kept or returned to demonstrate the conformity of product and service to requirement, and that process have been carried out as planned.
Okay.
That's all.
That's all. You have to read further for this clause. After E, you have 1, 2, E1, 2. Then you have the output of this planning. This is very important. The output of this planning shall. This is the requirement. Shall be suitable for the organization operation. So when you plan for your operation, you must have the output of your planning. Normally, the output of your planning, in practical, we will develop a control plan for your operation. Control plan for your operation. So you will need to have a metric. What we call a control plan. That in the control plan you should include all those requirements. You should include the acceptance criteria, the processes, then apa lagi? All those requirements lah. So I suggest that later, when you want to write a quality manual for your system, for your company, for clause 8.1, you should include a quality plan for your operation. A quality plan. So you search into internet, into Google, you look example of quality plan, how other people develop quality plan for their operation. So in quality plan, they should have the criteria, the testing requirement, and so on, the acceptance criteria, whatever that is required for your product. Okay, so that is a very straightforward requirement. Or like in clause 4, we can do SWOT analysis, but for clause 8.1 we can do we need to develop a control plan. Yeah, then you need to study more what should be in control plan, what should be included in control plan. Okay, then one more thing. The organization shall ensure that outsourced process are controlled. What does it mean by outsourced process? What does it mean by outsourced process?
The thing that input.
The do you have the standard with you, everybody?
Yes.
Make sure you have the standard in class. Okay. Okay, it says here, the organization shall ensure that outsourced process are controlled. What does it mean by outsourced process? What does it mean by outsourced process?
Resources daripada luar organisation masuk dalam company kita.
Outsourced process is process that are carried out outside from our organization. Yeah, this including your supplier, your supplier. Yeah, your supplier lah basically. Yeah, so if you are not doing the process by your own people, some of the process then you outsource. Yeah, some of the process that you ask other company to do it for you, for example. Yeah, then that company we need to control. We need to control the process that we outsource. We need to have a mechanism how to control all the outsourced process. For example, if you are making a chair, for example, maybe the process of group Shafiq, if you are making a chair, maybe the process of packaging process, maybe you do the product, yeah, and then you don't pack by your own company, you ask other people to pack your product for you, for example. Yeah, so the packaging process of your product, you need to make sure that you control the process of packaging. That you're making a cardboard, maybe you're painting, yeah, to paint your cardboard. You are not doing by yourself. You ask other outside company to do the painting. So in ISO, you need to control the painting process. You need to control the people who make the painting for you. Okay, so that is the definition of outsourced process. Yeah. Okay, so we must make sure that all the outsourced process are controlled. The key word here is you need to develop a control plan for your product or service that you want to produce. Okay, so that is 8.1. It's about planning. Planning for operation. Clause 6, we are talking about planning for the system, entire system. Clause 8, we're talking about planning for operation. Alright? Okay, next. 8.2.
Good morning, Doctor. Okay, for 8.2 is requirement for product and service. So this requirement is communication with customer shall include providing information relating product and service, and then heading and question. So these all requirement the company can prove that information for communicating with customer has been defined. And then the second one is proof that the same information is being managed and properly maintained. So the method of customer communication must be clear, and the specific method, the entry process of established customer communication will not be effective. So the actual method itself is not requirement by ISO, but the recording and document the company must do. And then the company must also be able to approve that his information is being both managed and proper maintained. Apart from simple define a plan of action for communication with customer, it must actually be carried out in order to be effective. So for the summary, the customer communication requirement between the product and service clause should consist of a plan for the business to be able to communicate direct with customer. So next slide.
Okay.
So point 8.2.2 is determine the requirement for product and service. So this requirement is any applicable statutory and regulatory requirement, and then those considered necessary by the organization. So for this requirement, we can do some customer request. So this may also include the requirement from interested party and also statutory and regulatory requirement related to the product. For example, a customer requirement, those defined by the product purpose, legal and statutory application, organizational objective, and approved record.
Okay.
So for next slide. So point 8.2.3, the requirement is specific by the customer, including the requirement for delivery and post-delivery activity. Requirement not stated by the customer but necessary for the specific or intended use, and requirement specific by the organization. And then is the next one is statutory and regulatory requirement application to the product and service and contract or order requirement differing from those previously expressed. So for this requirement, the company can conduct a review for customer requirement before order accept. For example, ensure product requirement are defeated, ensure product requirement are agreed, ensure any admin to the specific are agreed, and ensure any admin to the specific are communicated, and ensure that your organization is able to achieve the standard requirement. All the contract and order should be reviewed and accept only if the requirements are clear and understood, and the company has the capability and capacity to ensure fulfillment of customer expectation.
Okay.
Next. So point 8.2.4 is chance to requirement for product and service. So this requirement is the organization shall ensure that relevant document information is embedded and the relevant person make award for the change requirement when the requirement for product and service are changed. So for this requirement, company can should seek and record evidence that your organization has ensured that all relevant document information relating to change product and service requirement is made and those relevant design personnel are made award for the change requirement.
Okay. All right. Okay. Start first. Okay, 8.2. 8.2 is requirement for product and service. Okay. And now you are making a product, so we are talking about your product lah. We are not talking about a service. Okay. Requirement for a product. Requirement for product. So this the 8.2 basically is a requirement that you must make sure that you have agreed with the customer. Yeah. So we have to communicate with the customer. We have to make sure that we have a system to communicate with customer, right? Communication system with a customer. Then we need to determine what are the requirements by the customer. Yeah, this is the process before you make your product. Okay, before you make your product, you must make sure that we know the requirement of the product. Of course, the requirement of the product can come from customer or can come from other regulation, either regulatory or legal. So we need to identify this. We need to discuss. Yeah, we need to make sure that we understand. We need to make sure that we know exactly what are the expectation of the customer on the product and so on. Yeah, including statutory and regulatory requirement. Yeah, and some of the requirement not stated by the customer, not also stated in regulatory and statutory requirement, but it is considered necessary for the product to have. So we have to make sure that we discuss on that as well. Yeah. The organization can meet the claim for product and service it offer. So we must make sure that before, like your like Chong Wee explained just now, before we say that we can proceed with the product, yeah, we must make sure that we have a capability, we have the capacity, yeah, we have everything to make the product, to produce the product. Okay, so before we say that we can, we must make sure that we review first. We review the requirement. All this we must review. Some we need to review formal review. Some product not require formal review, but the review must be done. Yeah, before we proceed. Actually, one more is we must make sure that we keep all the review information, yeah, all the review documentation. Yeah, we have to keep and retain the documented information for the review. Yeah, and if the product have a new requirement, we also have to retain the documentation. And last but not least, if any changes on the product requirement, we have to make sure that the changes are aware by all people in the organization, and we act to address all those changes. Okay. In general, we can say that 8.2 is a process of making and negotiating with your customer to get a business. What we call before we get the business, we must know what is the customer expectation. We must review the expectation. We must make clear everything before we say to the customer that we can produce their product. Okay, so that is in terms of sales lah, sales. Sales requirement basically. Ni for sales department. For sales department, if you have sales department, this is the responsibility for sales department. You must communicate for sales department. You must communicate with the customer. You must know the expectation of customer, the requirement for customer, and so on. This is basically for sales. Sales department. The requirement for sales department. Okay. Any question? Okay, now since we already have sales now, so now we start to make a product. So in order to make a product, we must start with a design. We must start with a design of the product. So continue design 8.3.
Good afternoon, Doctor. Now I present the course 8.3, Design and Development of Product and Service.
Lim Yi Q.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
The organization shall establish, implement, and maintain a design and development process that is appropriate to ensure the subsequent provisions of product and service. It means the design and development of a product or a service is an important process, and quality of the final product or service depends on a great deal on the accuracy of the input from this stage. This also defines the detailed requirement for this course, which start with design and development planning, capturing the design and development input, review, verifications, and validations, documenting the output of design and development, and managing any change to design and development. All these stages shall be well planned, executed, adequately documented, and change control to meet the requirement of this clause.
Okay.
Next. The design, previous slide. Slide 9. Previous. So now 8.3.2 Design and Development Planning. In the determine the stage of and control for design and development, the organization shall consider the natural durations and completing the required process stage, including applications. This means planning, design, and development activity are important to execute all the design and development activity efficiently. The complexity of the design and development stage shall determine the amount of planning that we need to do for this process. While planning for design and development activity, consider planning the design and development stage, design and development input, design and development control, design and development output, and design and development change.
Okay.
Next. 8.3.3 Design and Development Input. The organization shall determine the requirement essential for the specified types of product and service to be designed and developed. The organization shall consider functions and performance requirement, information derived from previous similar statutory and regulatory requirements, standard or codes of practice that the organization has committed to implement.
Okay.
This means this clause require that the design and development inputs are defined, and if there is any discrepancies in understanding this input, it should be resolved before proceeding further with the design process. Typically, design input include customer contract, statement of work, drawings, and specifications, reasonably information, design and development activity of previous project, industry standard, computer analysis, any application standard, and regularly requirement, internal or external resource needs.
Okay. Okay, continue.
Next. 8.3.4 Design and Development Control. The organization shall apply control to the design and development process to ensure that the results to be achieved are defined. Reviews are conducted to develop the ability of the result to meet requirements. Verifications activities are conducted to ensure that output meets the input requirements, and validations activities are conducted to ensure that the resulting product and service meet the requirements for the specific application or instant use. This means once all design inputs are finalized, the next step is to ensure adequate control are applied so that the output of the design and development process are clearly defined and are as per customer requirements. Control can be applied in the forms of reviews, verifications, and validations of design and development activity.
Okay.
Next. 8.3.5 Design and Development Output. The organization shall ensure that design and development outputs that meet the input requirements and that are adequate for the subsequent process for the provisions of product and service. This includes on reference, monitoring, and measuring requirements. This means the design and development output can be in the form drawings of prototypes of the finished product or a specification. This output shall meet the input requirement for design and development and should be appropriate for use in processes that follow. Design output may also include a reference to any monitoring and measuring related requirements and applicants criteria if applicable. The design and development output should ensure that the final product or service that are produced based on the design are fit for their intended use. Next. 8.3.6 Design and Development Change. The organization shall identify, review, and control change made during or subsequent to the designs and development of product and service to the extent necessary to ensure that there is no adverse impact on conformity to requirements. The organization shall retain documents information on design and development change, the result of review, the authorizations of the change, the actions taken to prevent adverse impact. This means this clause requires that if changes are required to be made to either design input or design output, then the organizations shall follow a procedure so that these changes are controlled.
Okay. Some more? That's all.
Yes.
That's all. Okay. 8.3 basically is a big clause. Okay. It's a big clause. Starting from the, if you are talking about design, you should know the design process. Okay, the design process of a certain thing or certain product. So normally design start from a concept design, and then after concept we translate into a prototype. Before after prototype we translate into mass pre-pro, and then after pre-pro, and then we test, and then we go to for the mass production. So that is the stages during the design stage lah. Yeah. So the requirement says in every stages of the design and development, yeah, there must be a review. There must be a review. There must be a verification. There must be a validation. Yeah, maybe during the concept design, during the concept, yeah, during the concept, maybe we cannot do validation because only the concept. But the concept we can review. We can review the concept. We can verify the concept. Yeah. Maybe after the concept, the prototype we can review, we can verify, we can validate the prototype. Yeah, and then pre-pro also we can review, we can verify, and then we can validate. Yeah, so all those must have a system. All those must have people who are responsible, who are responsible to review the concept, who are responsible to verify the concept, who are responsible to validate the concept, for example. So all this must be put in the system, yeah, to make sure that the design process follow the plan system, yeah. So you must in your quality manual later on, when you discuss, when you want to address this requirement, you must draw your design process, flow. Then you should give the each process, each stages of the process flow for the design should be reviewed, should be verified, and should be validated. Yeah. Then the design should be reviewed and approved at each stages. At each stages of the design should be reviewed and approved by the appropriate, by the dedicated personnel that we have assigned. So we need to assign a dedicated personnel to review and revise the design process. Yeah. So starting from planning, and then we have input, we have control, we have output. Yeah. We have design input, design control, design output, and if we have changes, we need to control the changes as well. We must have a procedure. We must have a mechanism how we are going to deal with the design changes. Yeah. So it's a big requirement basically for the design. Every stages of the design we must control. Yeah, we must make sure that we have a design verification, and design validation. So what is the difference between verification and validation? Yeah, as your friend just now explained, verification is conducted to ensure that design output meet the design input. So that is verification. We verify the output, yeah, meet the input requirement. Yeah. Then design validation. Validation is what? Validation is, hello? You want to say something? Validation is what? Somebody want to say something? Validation is what?
Validations is the purpose of to check the product and service suitability for its intended use.
Meaning that for validation, sometimes we need to test. We need to test the product. We need to test the design. Yeah, testing to make sure that whatever product that we produce meet the intended use. Yeah, meet the intended use of the design. Okay, so that is the difference between verification and validation. In design, verification and validation is very crucial at each stages. Yeah, we must make sure that if appropriate, we must do both verification and validation for the design output. Okay, then we have to make sure that we retain all those documented information that is related to design, including design changes. Yeah, so all those documented, including your drawing. Normally, when designer from the concept, we have concept design drawing, we have prototype design drawing, yeah, we have pre-pro design drawing, we have mass pro design drawing, and so on. So all those documented information, yeah, we must make sure that we retain those documented information. Normally, during the design stages, the output normally is your drawing lah. It's drawing. Yeah, drawing, your prototype, yeah, and so on. Okay. All right. All right. So design. Then we go to 8.5, 8.4. 8.4. 8.4. 8.4. I think 8.4 group 2. Yeah. Okay. Group 2, 8.4. Okay, your product is chair. Okay. All right. Please continue.
I will start. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. My name is Aini Firhani. I am from Group 2. Our group will present clause 8.4 and 8.5. First, I will go to the clause 8.4.
Okay.
Next slide, please. Okay. First, 8.4, control of externally provided process, production, and service. 8.4.1, general. The organization should ensure that essentially provide process, product, and service conform to the requirement. The organization should determine the control to be applied to externally provided process, product, and service when a product and service from external provided are intended from incorporation into the organization on product and service. B. Product and service are provided directly to the customer by external provided on behalf of the organization. C. The process of or part of a process is provided by an external provided as a result of a decision by the organization. The organization should determine and apply criteria from the evaluation, selection, monitoring of performance, and evaluation of external provided based on their ability to provide process or product and service in accordance with requirement. The organization should return document information of this activity and any necessary action arise from the evolution. Next.
Okay, before you continue, 841, what you need to do in order to make sure that your company fulfill this requirement? What you need to do?
Mass planning.
Planning for what?
Planning our organization.
For what? What you need to do?
Wait.
What you need to do? To make sure that your company fulfill this requirement.
Mass planning before start the company. Or
Planning
before
what? Planning for what? Planning for what? We are talking about 8.4 now. Planning for what? Yes, you need to plan. Plan for what?
Planning process.
Process what? Process what? What process?
Product.
Product what?
Example, planning a good.
Aini Firhani binti Abdul Rashid, betul?
Yes, saya betul.
Okay. Semester berapa you?
I'm from semester 3, Doctor.
Oh, baru semester 3. You ada diploma sebelum ni ke?
Saya ada diploma.
Oh, ya, daripada diploma. Okay. So you pernah kerja sebelum ni?
Before this, saya pernah kerja after diploma, last 1 year.
So you kerja dekat mana?
Saya kerja as assistant accountant.
Assistant accountant dekat mana?
Syarikat company.
Syarikat apa? Syarikat tu ada ISO atau tidak?
ISO mesti ada sebab diorang buat inspection barang.
Inspection barang.
Dia cek barang.
Okay. So kalau you dah kerja dengan syarikat yang ada ISO, you mestilah tahu requirement dia. You dah ada experience. Kawan-kawan you belum ada pengalaman kerja. Sepatutnya you tahu. Betul tak?
Betul, Doctor.
So apa yang you kena buat dalam konteks in konteks untuk kita nak control external provided process product and service ni, so what we need to do? Macam mana you nak control external provider ni? Macam mana you nak control macam mana you nak senang bahasa in a layman term, macam mana you nak control you punya supplier you? How you want to control your supplier?
How do you control?
The external clause 8.4 is about we control our supplier lah basically, yeah. We control the external provided processes, product or service. Anything that we are not doing by our own organization, by ourselves, we send outside for to do a certain process, right? So that is we call our supplier. Yeah. So what we need to do in order to control them?
Record the supplier activity.
Okay. Sebelum you record, how you want to make sure that your supplier is a good supplier?
Must make sure the product have a quality.
That one is the result of that. So how to control your how you want to make sure that your supplier is a good supplier, is a quality supplier? Demand untuk what? Okay, sebelum dia actually sebelum you nak wang rengkai, very good wang rengkai. Supplier evaluation, we have to evaluate first our supplier. We need to have a certain criteria to evaluate our supplier. We need to set the criteria. What if you want to become my supplier, you need to fulfill a certain criteria. So we need to decide the criteria. Yeah. So after we decide the criteria, we need to evaluate the supplier to make sure that the supplier meet all the criteria that we have set. Then only we select the supplier. After we select, then only we monitor their performance. After we monitor their performance, we need to re-evaluate. We need to reassess their performance to make sure that every time they can fulfill our criteria that has set for them. So all this is stated here. Yeah, the organization shall determine and apply criteria for evaluation, selection, monitoring of performance, and re-evaluation of external providers. Okay, so that are the things that you need to do in order to make sure that we control our suppliers. Okay. Then what else? What else that we need to do? We need to retain the documented information. We need to make sure that information about criteria, about the criteria, about the evaluation, about the selection. We need to retain all those documented information. All right. So this is the requirement regarding how you want to control your supplier. Yeah. So the supplier can be anything lah. Here it says, yeah, the organization shall determine control all the product or service product that is sometimes product from external provider that you use in your organization. Sometimes you just appoint your supplier and the supplier send the product directly to the customer. That is B. A is supplier send the product for you to use. B is you appoint supplier, then supplier send the product directly to the customer on behalf, yeah, on behalf of the organization, yeah. Sometimes, for example, you want to buy a computer from Dell, for example, yeah. You want to buy a computer from Dell, yeah, and then Dell will appoint ABC company to make it to make the computer for you. So they'll only instruct their supplier to make a computer for you, then their supplier make the computer and send directly to you. Yeah, and then you pay to Dell. Dell will pay to the supplier that they have appointed. So that is the case of B. Product and service are provided directly to the customer by external providers. Okay. And then a process or part provided by external provider as a result of decision by the organization. Sometimes we send like I told you, the painting process is done by outside company. The coating process maybe is done by the company, other outside company. So all those supplier we need to control. Yeah. How to control is through here. How to control is here. Yeah. We need to evaluate, we need to select, and so on. Okay. 842. 842. Okay.
Hello, Doctor. Dengar?
Okay. Dengar.
Photo basically is a type and extent of control. So the first one is the extent of supply control, and the second one is the control and output. So I will start with the first one. Okay, the extent of supply control is the extent of needs to be consistent with supply performance and assessment of product, material, and service risk. Control mechanism may include check the product delivery, site acceptance test, second party supplier audit, and so on. If supplier audit are required, they should be written into the contract with the supplier. The organization criteria for determining the need, type, frequency, and scope of the second party supplier audit must be based on a risk analysis. Issues that could trigger need the second party supplier audit will include the input from supplier performance indicator such as risk assessment result and follow-up, open issue from process and product audit. Externally, provided process must remain under organization KMS control and can be achieved through documented information that align to ensure the common input, output, control, ownership, government, and so on between the organization requirement and used to interface with the supplier.
Okay. All right. So 842 basically is a type and type of control, type or extent of control. So it says that how we want to control, what we call how tight we want to control is depend on us basically. Yeah. But we must make sure that all our suppliers, yeah, will not adversely affect our ability to consistently deliver the conforming product to our customer. That is how you want to control is up to you, but we must make sure that the control does not affect the negative effect. Does not affect the negative effect of the ability to consistently deliver conforming product to customer. Yeah. So we must make sure that all the time we can deliver consistent conforming product to our customer. Then you have to decide to what extent that you need to control the supplier. Maybe you can like Shafiq just explained. Maybe we can audit. We can do a supplier audit. Yeah. Maybe we can do a third party audit, whatever lah. Second party audit and so on. Yeah. But we must make sure that the verification and other activities of external provider process and product service meet the requirement. So we need to verify, yeah, all the activities that we control the supplier should have a verification. Okay, so you need to declare, you need to address in your system how you control the supplier to make, but you must make sure that your supplier, we must make sure that we have ability to consistently meet the product requirement by the customer all the time, consistent, right? So how you want to control, you must declare in your system. Okay, next, 843. 843. 843, before we stop, I think we start at 843 lah today. Then
843 is information for external provider.
Okay.
The organization shall ensure the accuracy of requirement prior to the communication for external provider. The organization also shall communicate to external provider and its requirement for process, product, service to be provided, and the approval of product, service, method, processor, and equipment, and lastly, the release of product and service. The company should be able to provide the external supplier with all the information and conditions necessary to satisfy the approval to our company goals, whether to be needed organization or by law. What procedure, processor, and facility are necessary for the product or service to meet the approval requirement, and what the approval needed for release product service to the organization. So C is competent, including required qualification of person. So at this level, they want to measure the level of competence, preparation, and experience of the expecting of people in the provider organization in order for them to fulfill the need. And the approval from licensed electrical engineer or electrician, if dealing with industrial wiring, you good. This is the example. And is it necessary for the chartered engineer to sign off the drawing?
Okay, all right. So 843 basically is information for the external provider. So this is information on your in a layman term, information in your purchase order lah. When we want to purchase something from our supplier, we need to give information to our supplier. Yeah. The standard say that we need to give a complete information on what we want to buy or what we want to purchase from the provider. So we need to give a complete information, including the requirement, the size, the weight, whatever, and the method of release of product. All this must be stated in your purchase order or agreement with your supplier. We must put in black and white, and we must document it, to make sure that whatever requirement, all the requirement that are needed by the provider must be included in the purchase agreement, in the purchase document. Okay, so then it says that we need to control external provider performance, and also that one also need to include in your purchase agreement. Then last but not least, it says verification and validation. So after the product reach to your organization, after you make a purchase, then the product is delivered, you must validate. You must you need to do a checking. You need to check the product before you accept the product that is provided by the supplier. So all this need to be included in your purchase agreement or purchase document. Normally we call it purchase order lah. We must make sure that all the information that is needed by the product must be included in the purchase agreement. Okay. Any question? So this clause basically 8.4 is most related to a purchase department, purchasing department. Yeah. 8.2 just now is for sales department. 8.3 is for the design department. 8.4 is a purchasing department. Now you can see already the clause, the relevant clause for your own department. 8.2 is for the sales department. 8.3 is for the design department. 8.4 is for your purchasing department. If you have the department in your organization. Okay. Any question? Any question? Any question?
No, Doctor.
Okay. If no question, I think that's all for today. Yeah. You go back and you study. Yeah. You study. You study design department. You study purchasing department. Yeah. Then you will understand lah the requirement. Yeah. You try to relate the requirement in your department later. Okay. Any question? I think if no question, that's all for today. Yeah. Please continue working on your assignment. Make sure that you address all the requirement. Make sure that you do the assignment properly. Yeah. At the meantime, continue study the requirement. We will discuss 8.5 next week. Okay. All right. If no question, thank you very much and see you next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, Doctor.
Can open again the attendance?
Attendance.